We will call the Tuesday, February 25th, 7 p.m. City Council meeting to order, and we'll start. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Big crowd tonight. This is exciting. Oh, we have both members of the press. I thought the one was not going to be here tonight. They're just running late. But you made it on time. Excellent. Could we have a roll call, please?
Pope.
Here.
Shanzier.
Here.
Milszewski.
Here.
Fletcher.
Here.
Funkhauser.
Here.
Rios. Chirulis.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you. I have one correction or amendment to the agenda I would like to have, please. Under Planning and Zoning Commission, item number 2, the Route 71 1.5 mile review for the special use. I'd like to move that to after the mayor's report if I could. Could I get a motion to approve with the change? So moved. For a second?
Second.
Second by Fulcher. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay. We have now a presentation from the Aurora Area Convention and Visitors Bureau 2019 Review and 20 Marketing Plan. Court Carlson. Right?
Thank you, that's right, very
Yep.
good.
And here's the
Thanks.
thing. Because court rhymes with short, he said he'd keep it relatively short, right?
I think I was going 5 minutes, right? Is that what I was told last week?
Plus questions, plus questions. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me here. Oh, I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and just divert your eyes over here to the big screen along the wall.
Can everyone see that okay?
No need to look at me.
Oh, get some lights, okay.
I'm going to start out with actually walking through our 2019 marketing program that we do in cooperation with Yorkville. A little bit different than your packet, a little bit out of order, but want to go ahead and give you this highlights of where we are and how last year went. Let me see. Here we go. So if you look at it, the total marketing spend for the campaign is probably $26,000, and that is a percentage of the funding formula from the city of Yorkville. And we work directly with the staff here at the city to put together a marketing plan every year based on what the city is looking for and kind of what we think are good spending plans and good outlets for Yorkville to put your tourism dollars to get the biggest bang for your buck. So break it down: social media advertising, print advertising, online, which is digital marketing. And one of the things that we worked with this year, or last year rather, in 19 with the staff is they really wanted to see about putting together a library of video, images, and photography of events and attraction locations throughout the city that we could use in our everyday marketing, but also then the city can use for their marketing and their promotions and for other use, economic development and other things as well. So that was the spend we did this year as well. So you can see, I'm looking at social media, the cost was approximately $9,000, 1.2 million impressions through our social media campaigns. Print advertising, $7,000, 351,000 impressions based on circulation of those publications. Online advertising, our digital plan, just over $6,000 and almost 2.5 million impressions. So we had some really good numbers this year, and we're looking to make a little bit of changes next year going forward, but continue with a lot of the same plans as we look at what's getting the best traction for the city. And then ongoing, we did the rack card, a promotional rack card for the city a couple of years ago, and we continue to use those for promotions. They're distributed through the tollway travel kiosks, the state welcome centers, and then we have them in our office. We send them out with people who request specific information as well. So no cost there, but we continue to spend those dollars to that distribution of the rack card. Next slide kind of tells you how the impressions feed in then to the website stats and hopefully move consumers from the ad into the website. They get more information. They want to come to Yorkville and to the greater region, and they want information, and this is what actually hopefully leads to the travelers. So you look at the circle graph on the left there, and digital breakdown between the display SEM impressions and the social impressions. So we're really, it's like 2/3 of it is display and SEM. And then you look at the right-hand side and the web stats, and you can kind of see the growth actually in that program over the last 3 years. The small, it's green, it's hard to see it, but it is green. The smaller bumps on the left of the bar graph is actually the campaign traffic, and the larger blue lines are the full, all Yorkville page views to the Go Yorkville page, which is part of our regional website. And it's 17, 18, and 19 campaigns there, so you can see the growth that we're moving as we develop the campaigns and the branding, and then as we continue to build out the website as well. So on 2019, which is the far right-hand side there, the campaign traffic generated just about 40,000 page views to the Go Yorkville site, and total website views for that page were over 212,000. So not only is our campaign driving the consumer to the website, but also what we do as a region and our general marketing also is driving traffic to the website as well. So we're really happy with that, and we're happy with the growth. As we move forward, we'd like to see those numbers, and certainly our campaign numbers continue to grow, but great numbers when you look at the amount of traffic coming directly to the Go Yorkville site. Media highlights, I want to touch on a couple things. One of the biggest ones that we did was working directly with West Suburban Living Magazine, West Suburban Magazine, and doing their Yorkville feature article. This was in February of 19. Worked directly with their publishers to provide them with photography, some editorial, and we feel that this feature came really directly out of our 3-year campaign of working with them, buying advertising with them, and being on their radar and making sure that their publishers know where Yorkville is, what you are, and what you have to offer the greater suburban market in terms of visitation. So it was a great piece of business here, about 25,000 circulation for that magazine in a relatively slow period of time. So February of 19, people were sitting home, they got their magazine, nothing else to do in a snowy month except look at West Suburban Magazine. So hopefully they were looking at the Yorkville feature there. Some more media highlights. I mentioned one thing that we want to do was build our library of video and images of Yorkville for our use and also for the city's use. So in 19, we had deployed our photographer and videographer out to several events and locations throughout the city, including St. Patrick's Day celebration, summer solstice, Riverfest, hometown days, holiday celebration weekend, the bicentennial, Riverfront Park, and then also down at the Whitewater Course on the river as well. So we're gathering all those images, and again, we use those not only for the Yorkville marketing, but when we do our larger regional umbrella marketing, we use that as well. And then those are, the city uses those for their own in-house marketing as well. This kind of shows an evolution of the 3-year kind of marketing design and how we have moved forward with the Yorkville branding. 17, 18, 19, it's a 3-year kind of transition of how we've evolved and updated and continue to refresh the brand and the look of Go Yorkville when we do the print advertising for the city. Just real quickly, I wanted to do a real quick sales update as well for a couple key points. I know this is our marketing plan, but wanted you to keep in mind too that part of the overall efforts and function of the Aurora Area CVB is the sales of the tourism and group sales, whether it's meetings, tour and travel, motor coach tours, or for us, our biggest market is a sports market. So looking at two of the bigger programs that we worked with last year, the one is the IWLCA Midwest Cup. It was a lacrosse tournament at Stewart Sports Complex, over 1,200 room nights for the region. Huge economic impact, and I know there was at least 70 room nights went directly to the Hampton Inn here through that program. And then on the tour and travel side, I'm real happy with a bank group out of Iowa who has booked 2 tours, primarily to see productions at the Paramount Theater in Aurora, but they're staying in Yorkville. So I think it's really cool that kind of really exemplifies what the partnership is and the regional efforts. They're doing something in Aurora, but they're staying in Yorkville. And I know they're coming back here. I think it's in May of this year, and they're having dinner at Millhurst also. So they're dining and staying in Aurora, or in Yorkville, but they're seeing a show in Aurora. I think it's a great example of how we all work together and how the travelers don't know boundaries. Aurora, Yorkville, all they want to know, they want to be here, have a good time, have fun, and they're seeing a show and staying at a nice hotel and getting a good meal. So really exemplifies the partnership that we do on this. And 2019 alone, our leads to our local hotel partners had estimated 7,000 room nights and a $1.6 million economic impact for the region if all those events were to materialize. And this is the 2020 program. Kind of walk through briefly what we're doing in 2020. Again, it's basically a lot of the same breakdowns. We've moved a little bit of money around out of print advertising and put more into the digital and SEM marketing, about $2,000 difference. Move some money around. We're seeing greater response and greater activity through the digital programs rather than the print. And print's nice. We don't want to step totally away from print. We all like to see our name in print and see the pretty pictures. I think it's important, but ultimately it's about driving the consumer to the website where they get all the information and they can then plan their travels, see the events and what's happening in Yorkville and the greater region. We will continue with some of the media production as well. We're going to come back out and do some more things, take the lead of the city, find some new attractions, restaurants, some downtown shots, continue with the event photography and video. We're really hoping we have some snow for the holidays this year. We have 2 years worth of holiday photos with no snow in them. We really like to get some snowy pictures for the wintertime. It can snow for holidays and then be 70 again in January next year, but we really like to get some holiday photos in there. And then we're going to stick with some of the same print publications that we've have done in the past that have been successful for us. And not only do they drive traffic to the website, but some of them have read response programs where they can actually sign in and send away for more information for the advertisers. So we like to see those and wait for us to kind of track some of those publications as well. But you can see the breakdown in the top right-hand corner, the breakdown of 2020 and where we are recommending that we put the funds. Social media is just over 34%. Digital is 30%, print 20%, and video production is just about 14%. So between social and digital, that's majority of the spend is going to be, again, to reach people electronically and drive those people to the Go Yorkville website. That's what I have, but I'm happy to answer any questions, clarify anything, or better explanation of what we do as a regional tourism office.
Thank you for the likes. Comments or questions? Yes, Joel.
I will give you some super props on your photo library. At some point around the middle of the summer, I didn't know if I was looking at Raging Waves advertisements, Yorkville advertisements, or AACBB advertisements. And most of the times, the ones that didn't, like, say, sponsor were AACBB. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you've not only got a decent amount of your own footage that looks original, it's pretty consistent across all the events. The one after Solstice, where you actually have it in here, where it's the back of the two people looking at the stage at Solstice, that was one of the ones where we're like, we would have spent a couple grand on hiring a photographer that would have done something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, all the events that you covered are excellent. I would encourage a repeat. Something that I know isn't directly tied to tourism, but is very, very close to the community we have here, is the fact that we got those wine nights in the park. Okay. When the park is lit up at night, it looks really, really romantic. I've only done the wine night once or twice, but it's like late summer, you can totally tell that Yorkville Town Square is an excellent place to be and hang out. But then also, like, Saturday mornings at the soccer fields, you will see 400 people at 10:15 on Saturday morning, bright sunny skies, green grass. A lot of Yorkville is kind of centered around youth sports. And we've got Bridge Park, which looks great under the lights. We've got the soccer fields at Bristol Bay, which look incredible with all the green grass and the landscaping. There's a lot of things about Yorkville that aren't quote unquote touristy, but part of the thing that I harped on a couple years ago is the fact that we keep on advertising to people that aren't from the area. But you realize that a lot of us who live here don't have enough time to realize how much cool stuff we have
Right.
here. So I do want to give you props because I have noticed an uptick in not only what you guys are kind of putting out, but the fact that the quality is consistent
Great.
across. So how you're marketing the festivals is awesome. How you're kind of you're leading with what Yorkville ends up putting out something that's like consistent with what you're doing. But you're doing it from like a media coverage, where we're doing it from like sharing what we're doing. So I think it's a good add-on. It's a good kind of follow through. But yeah, I would just encourage a couple more captures of some of the
We can
community
do that.
events that aren't relatively touristy, but because we want people to be comfortable with the type of community we have. And I think only hitting our hot spots that other people see is one thing, but kind of realizing that part of the draw of spending money in Yorkville is knowing that you're spending money in Yorkville as a state.
Yep, certainly. Yep, I'll put them on a list and
Excellent.
we'll get that done this summer. And I encourage everybody, if you don't already, please follow us on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, whatever else there is out there, all the social media ones. We're on all of them, and then you can see how we are marketing Yorkville and then the whole region and kind of how we do them individually, but then how we also then cooperate it into one large destination as well. So if you're not already, please go ahead and follow us on the social media channels and keep up with what we're doing on behalf of the city of Yorkville.
Other questions or comments? So I brought this up the other day. I just want to make sure you have it on your radar. Not only do we have Wine Down Wednesdays, we have Margaritas and Mayo on May 21st, or Mayo, 21. Make sure we promote that. Everybody's going to have a great time, as long as the weather holds. We'll still have a great time. So I want to make sure that's on the radar, please.
We'll get it
and
out.
then I have one other thing on this, unless others do, if others have questions or comments. No? Okay. So just make sure I understand this. My recollection, and I could be getting this mixed up, the way we fund this is we pledge 90% of our 3% hotel tax. Is that correct? And for this current fiscal year, we budgeted $72,000, correct?
Yes.
Excellent. Just so everyone knows how it's funded. So 3% hotel tax, 90% goes to the group.
And then 40% of that goes back to this plan. So we then pull out 40% of that funding goes back to your individualized plan.
Specific to
Yes.
Yorkville then. And
Just
then the other
for-
just
just for
the
Yorkville.
point, it drives people from other areas.
Yes.
Like you said, the lacrosse, was it lacrosse or something?
Right, yep, lacrosse.
Yeah, where they had 70, confirmed there were 70 room nights in Yorkville.
Yes, on the week you can confirm it's 70 room nights at the one hotel.
Okay.
That was before the Howden was here, but it was at the
Yeah,
Hampton
so
Inn,
we
so yes.
expect everyone to be here this
So
year.
yes.
Because it's conveniently located right
For
on
Stewart,
47.
you guys get a lot of room from Stewart because of the terms we have out there, so.
Yeah,
We have some big weekends coming up this summer already.
that's fantastic. Mr. Koch,
Yeah, I have one other question. Since we just brought another hotel online and there'll be a banquet hall coming soon with that, does the 2020 plan going to factor into that as an increase, or how's that going to work?
The marketing plan, no. The budget, no, not yet. In the fiscal year 20 budget that was approved last year. The 21 budget proposal will be leaving it flat similarly. We figured, wait a year, see how, the summer season treats both hotels. We would hope that there'd be an increase in both of them, but some of that could be transfer sales between the two hotels. So we just assumed no increase.
good question. Other questions, comments? Thank you very much,
Great.
Court.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Excellent. Public hearings? No public hearings? Citizen comments on agenda items. Do we have any citizen comments on agenda items? None. No consent agenda? Minutes for approval? Could I have a motion to approve the minutes from the February 11th, 2020 meeting?
So moved.
Peterson, second. By Koch, discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Oh, I just gotta write down what the AP is, because there's three of us. You got a little checkbox over there, don't you? Okay, next we have bill payments from the current bill list. $1,007,565.33 for vendors, $62,515.08 for wire payments. Payroll ending 2/7/20 of $309,635.53 for a total of $1,379,715.94. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Was over here, was that Transier? Yes. Was it, and who was the second?
Closure.
Cloture, okay.
You can make it AP if it's easier for you to remember.
Oh, AJP.
There you go.
Yeah, I like that kind of AJ. It wasn't AJ Foyt. Okay. Any discussions on this? Roll call, please.
Olszewski.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Chirulus.
Aye.
Transier.
Aye.
Clocher.
Aye.
Frieders.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Kraus.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So under mayor's report, we've got a couple items that I'm going to talk about just briefly. First of all, we had the chamber dinner last week. Thanks for those of you who were able to join us. And I know some weren't feeling well, and I'm sorry they weren't able to join us, but it was a good time. I gave a speech, rambled on a little bit, but it was a good time. So thanks everyone for attending, and we'll have a good time next year too. Next thing I have is, and I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago when I went, it's been about a month now, when I went to see some second graders. This past Friday, I got a chance to speak to some fourth graders in Bristol Bay. And I got to tell you, it was the first time I was ever in Bristol Bay. I was kind of excited. I got in there and there's about 85, 90 fourth graders, spoke to them, and just had a real good time. And then one of them, and I didn't bring the picture, but I put it on, I do have, and I'm not campaigning, so I can say this, I do have a Facebook election page. And I put a picture, a little fourth grader drew. While I was there, he drew a nice picture of me on a little notepad, and he gave it to me afterwards. He said, I drew a picture of you, and it was nice. He had a little bit of hair here, a little bit here. He kind of squared off glasses. And actually, I wore the shirt too, and he had the buttons and the little J over here. It was just outstanding. He did a great job. So that was, I just enjoyed. Whenever I get to go to schools, I enjoy it. If I had to do high school kids, it might be a different story. But anyway, that was fun. And then the final thing I have under the mayor's report that's not listed is, and Chief Jensen will talk about this a little bit, but we had last Friday evening, afternoon, one of our officers was going to a call for a solicitor, actually, and while he was on the way to the call, he heard over the KenCom that there was a gentleman having some chest pains, called 911. He and an off-duty county deputy went to the person's home, and they saved the guy's life, and they used the defibrillator, or however you pronounce that word, that's a tough word, the AED, all those fancy letters. They saved the guy's life, and now he was transported to the hospital, but we just heard today that he actually was released from the hospital today, and he's going home. So Jim, tell your folks, your policemen did a great job, and we appreciate it. Yeah, so thank you. Is there anything else you want to add on that?
Actually, I spoke to the gentleman and his wife. They had just been released from the hospital. 4:40 this afternoon. He had 4 stents put in.
Oh, wow.
And the doctor said that he did not get the shock of the defibrillator, the initial shock, he would have died.
Wow.
So it was pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
It was amazing. Just talking to them.
Bless you. Excellent. That's outstanding. So thank you. And so I have to say one other thing, and maybe I lied, and I hope you'll all work with me on this. So I was going to move PZC number 2 to after the mayor's report. Can we do it before this next item? Because this next item might have discussion. Is anyone opposed to that? No? Okay, good. So I appreciate that, because again, this next item might have a lot of discussion, might not, I don't know, but if it does, this next one, this PZC 2 thing shouldn't be too terribly bad. So is there a motion to approve? Do you want me to slow up? Sorry. How's that order? PZC 2020-04 and EDC 2020-14 for 7821 Route 71, a special use for the county, and it's our 1.5 mile review.
Motion.
By Frieders, second by Plocher. Any discussion? Christy, you want to explain this just briefly, please?
Sure. The petitioner is actually here tonight. His name is Ronald Smers, and he is looking to take his 17-acre site and dedicate about 1 acre to a storage facility area that would house only trailers, so nothing that would have leak fuel or anything into the ground. They are also looking to fence off the entire area. They would have evergreens planted around the perimeter in consideration of the adjacent property owners that have a residential subdivision near this. This is located on Route 71, as you mentioned, near Van Emmen. And in response to comments that came back from the public, EDC, they have addressed a lot of those visual impacts of this particular use. We did have some people show up to PZC. They did not speak in opposition or in favor of this request, and it was unanimous by PZC to not file an objection against this request.
Questions or comments? Mr. Frieders?
So it's 1 acre out of 17? You're serious? I think it's a great use of land, especially considering it doesn't need the type of asphalt that an actual motor vehicle would need. I do know that if it's a dedicated just trailer area, you're probably going to be a lot more affordable than some of the other bigger ones. And it's your property, and you're not going to be bothering other people. So I'm sorry that you went through that little storm of drama and lies, but that's the way things work once in a while. So I'm glad that they went 4-0 for it, because I was all for it anyway. I don't own a trailer, but when I grow up and have one, I'll for sure find it.
When you grow up?
Yes.
Hasn't happened yet.
Any other comments?
I have a question.
Sure, Mr. Transier.
Did the county vote on whether or not they were going to approve? It was unclear from what I read in the packet. Or are they still waiting?
So they're waiting for our response. They have gone through some preliminary, like, committee meetings. They're waiting for a city's response before they make their final decision.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Frieders.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Pope.
Aye.
Milczewski.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Chirulis.
Aye.
Transier.
Aye.
Kosher.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yep, have a good evening. Okay, now back to the mayor's report item that is listed. Is there a motion to approve CC 2020-09, ordinance amending the regulations for liquor licenses? So moved. Peterson, is there a second? Second. Second? Was that, it was Frieders, okay. So, Bart, please discuss this a little bit so people understand.
Okay, so the admin committee has been talking about the quantity of liquor licenses for the past couple months, and whether generally the tavern licenses, so our A1s and A2s, which are our highest liquor licenses, should be ratcheted up or ratcheted down when people leave, and so that conversation's been ongoing. So the crux of the issue is that we allow gaming cafes and currently one gas station to apply for A1 and A2 licenses. And they only really want it for gaming. They don't want to turn into a bar necessarily. They just want to have gaming machines there. And they're required to serve liquor under the state code in order to get gaming machines. So they approach us and ask us if we have licenses. And in the past, we've had various requests from gaming cafes and other users to add video game machines and then get the license that goes with it. And so we've had the transfer of some licenses currently allocated from like a bar or a restaurant. They leave, and then the gas station will call and will apply and end up using the license. So I know that that has caused a fair amount of discussion at city council level, committee level over the past couple of years. So at the committee, we talked about the concept of defining and creating new liquor licenses for gas stations and gaming cafes to be able to control those. And so that way, if a gaming cafe or a gas station came to us, we would say, yes, we have this license. You can only apply for this license, but there aren't any available right now. So your request has to go in front of the city council in order to allow it up or down, and then go from there. So that concept, while it wasn't in the packet, was verbally discussed, and the committee seemed generally okay with that. So we were going to move that forward. So in parallel with that discussion, the attorney and the mayor had some conversations about just other cleanups in the liquor code, which were not reviewed by the admin committee yet. And so we threw those on there. We think some of them are probably okay, no-brainers. Some of them maybe they require a little bit more discussion. And so those are listed in the memo as numbers 1 through 6. So the gaming cafe amendments and the gas station amendments are not numbered. Okay, they're just in those first two background paragraphs. But everything that's related to gaming cafes and gas stations and numbers 1 through 6 are in Kathy's ordinance there. So I can walk through those very briefly, but the summary is in the packet of 1 through 6. And so 1 is just getting rid of some classes that nobody uses right now, so it's restaurant class licenses. You know, we don't see that anybody's ever going to come in and say, hey, I only want to be a restaurant and serve beer or wine and not spirits, or wine and spirits and not beer. So, you know, nobody's used it, we said just get rid of those. Number 2, we created a classification within the catering license that deals specifically with Cobblestone Bakery when they were doing catering, and there was going to be an amphitheater across the street. We thought, hey, maybe they're going to serve a movie theater from time to time. None of those scenarios has happened. Cobblestone has left town or changed hands, so obviously that doesn't apply anymore. So we figured back that out. Number 3, same thing, gift baskets. In the early 2000s, we had a vendor in town that was selling arts and crafts that wanted to sell gift baskets with wine in it. And, you know, we said, okay, we're going to create this standalone liquor license classification. So you can do that, nothing else. You can't serve packaged liquor. You can't serve a 6-pack of beer. You can't get somebody a cocktail while they're shopping. Just gift baskets. That person never applied, and nobody's applied or inquired since then. So we figured get rid of that. And then number 4 gets into the number of A1 and A2 licenses. So it gets into a scenario where we have, let's say there's 4 current license holders in the A1 and A2 category. And so we would be allowing 5 licenses. So 4 license holders plus 1. So that would do 2 things. It would, 1, prevent a run of 5 or 10 new bars from coming into the city all at once and saying, we're going to apply, we want to open up next week. So we would say, well, we only have 1 license, so anything above that we have to take to city council. But 2, it would also streamline the application process for at least 1 new owner. So they would be able to come in and say, I want to open up next week, or I'm going to transfer from an R1 license up to an A1, and we'd be able to process that administratively within 2 to 3 weeks. Number 5 and number 6 deal with different regulations related to package license and A1 geographic restrictions. So number 5 just says, currently in the current code, you can only have, I think it's 3 or 4 A1 tavern licenses in the downtown area of the town. And we looked at that and said, I don't know if that's warranted. I don't really know too many towns that do that now. Usually they just cap the total number of licenses so they don't necessarily care where they go. And so the proposal, as drafted in the ordinance, would just remove that restriction, so someone could cite if there was an open license anywhere in town. And then number 6 is removing the caps and the location restrictions on package licenses. So currently, our package licenses are capped at the number of license holders exactly. And so every time a new package license comes to town, we have to do a city council amendment. So we looked at that and said, maybe that's not warranted too. And then additionally, there's geographic restrictions. So we can't have 2 package licenses in the same strip mall. We think that that's probably unlikely to occur anyway, because usually the tenants have different rules in their lease that prevents 2 of the same type of businesses from going in the same area. But if somebody wanted that to occur, we didn't necessarily see an issue with that. And so that's all wrapped into 1 through 6 on there. And so I wanted to just make sure that we had verbally reviewed them before discussion, but the mayor and the attorney thought that those were cleanups that could occur now prior to probably the comprehensive cleanup that needs to occur at some point in the next few months, which will contain items like that, but many more of them.
Questions, comments? Thank you for that. Go ahead, please, Mr. Frieders.
If a business like a gift basket or like the paint, Pinot, whatever comes in, that's still an option to create a new classification of licenses, right?
It always is. The gift baskets would be easy to do because we already have the language, and so we could redo it if we had to. The paint and Pinot type classes get into a gray area of state and local laws, more so in the state than local areas. So that one is kind of a side issue that's more complex than it seems.
They can do them at license holders that are Because if it's the artist who comes in and brings pallets, it's like, is that where the complexity is? Where you have to have an establishment?
Yeah, I think the complexity is that this, if you just read the state laws on it, that technically the state laws are, sort of don't allow that. And so it's in a
Right, you're
gray
not allowed
area.
to do.
Yeah.
You're
right.
not allowed to dispense liquor for free. You know, they've cut down, and that's what they were attempting to do. The other problem with those entities, so they've slowed down a bit, is dram shop insurance. Very difficult for them to get dram shop insurance,
Yeah, it's not usually on the local side that it ends up being an issue. It's more of like a
state.
private issue and a state issue.
So you can't go out to bid for professional services, and you can't do paid payment.
Well,
State of Illinois, Russian.
you can, sort of.
They're communists, see? He found another way.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Other questions, comments? Chris? Or
So
Mr.
on-
Funkhouse, I'm sorry.
Number 4, that's the one where you've got the license plus 1.
Sure.
So if somebody closes, if a business closes, then you technically have 2, because you have that plus 1 still.
Yes.
Correct.
So at any point, it's a minimum of 1 is always available.
Correct.
And then if that 1 fills, it automatically renews to a new license? It creates a new
No.
license? Or is it,
No.
we're saying this is at the cap right
6
now?
is what it is. If some left, it would be
Okay,
additional.
so when we're saying
We're only-
license plus 1, it is
When-
of the current, number. So the
Right.
number is 6.
Correct.
That is the number.
And they'd have to come back to the city
Okay,
council.
I just
for an
wanted to
increase.
clarify that it's not-
plus 1.
A plus 1
It's
at all
not-
times? Or is there a
Let's look
dispute?
at the language.
So the concept that's supposed to be drafted in the ordinance is
No.
a +1 concept. So it's a
Okay.
number
So
of
anytime
license
somebody
holders
fills
plus
that
Yeah,
6-1,
that there's always one available.
We talked
Okay.
about
Such
that.
that
I
someone
don't think
can-
that's what, I say,
exactly, that's my concern.
the number of licenses for classes A1 and A2 combined shall not exceed the number of 6 licenses
I think there's
issued
5
at any
license holders
time.
currently.
So if you
Yeah.
want that, I'd have to change the
But this is,
language.
No.
that's how it's drafted, is it's 6
There's
shall not
5
exceed
holders
6.
currently. You
Six.
drafted it at 6.
Correct.
So it's a +1 concept.
Yes, but if number 6 came, it wouldn't automatically create a 7. That's what he said.
That's what I was.
Yes, okay, I agree with that. We're on the same
Okay,
page.
that's what I'm getting
We're on
at,
the
is
same page. Oh.
it's not an automatic
No.
increase.
No,
Because that goes opposite of what we were talking about.
correct.
To bring it back, okay.
No, I agree, but let me clarify, though, on the contrary, though, if it goes down to 4, there's still 6.
Correct.
Right.
So 6 is the number we're
Yeah.
voting on.
So if any time, if all 5 of the licensings, they close, they do something
We
else,
have
then you
6.
have 6 licenses,
Right.
but if number 6 comes and fills, you're not getting a
We
7.
have 0.
Okay.
We would come to the council and say, hey, are you okay with adding 1 or 2 in case a new business comes to streamline the
I
process?
just wanted to make
And you'd
certain
say
that
yes or
that
no.
was the
Absolutely.
That was your
Language,
intent, and that's what I put in.
the 6 is just 1 available
Right.
now.
The other language that's in here in terms of elimination is, we have 2 video gaming and 1 gas station.
Mhm.
And the language says if one of them goes out, the
That
number
license
goes
goes away.
down.
Yes, which I agree with that, and then if
Correct.
somebody comes back in with a gaming use,
It
they
has
have
to come here.
Come here,
You all get input on that.
right. So we're eliminating a grandfathered license.
Right.
Is what we're simply doing.
Piggyback on that,
Mr. Culp, please. No, that's fine. Just for this.
So if you are at a max number, and does someone that was here previously and left, do they fall back on the list? Or
No,
do they get to come back in ahead of someone else?
No. If you leave, your license is either open and you can come back, or it's closed because it was reissued and you have to come before the city council to up the number.
So when the pinheads came back into operation, did they still have their license, or did they have to go back and reapply? Because they closed for a while.
The license was good until April 1st, correct, Lisa?
This was a new owner, so the new owner filed the application.
Okay, that's what I
The
thought.
old owner had class A1, the new owner applied for
Which allow you to operate as a tavern after 9 o'clock.
That's
So unlimited amounts of alcohol sales.
Mr. Funkhouse, do you have any other questions?
We were just conversing
Go ahead, no,
still,
if
we were still conversing about the 6, making sure that's what the language we have in
That's
the
what it
ordinance.
says.
The memo reads a little differently,
Yeah.
but I think the intent has been clarified, that it is 6
Yes.
and 6 only.
Other questions on this, comments?
have a question. I know when we
Please,
were in
Mr.
committee, we
Transier.
talked about doing some more review of the liquor code ordinances. Do you expect more of this down the line for us as a council?
Yeah, a lot of it is gonna be cleanup, some of it will be getting rid of like sections that we don't need or use. Some of it will be structural changes in how we do things. It's just, I don't even know how many pages the liquor code is, but when we've tackled the water and sewer code, it ends up being a bigger project than you expect after you dive into it, so.
Does that answer your question?
Could be months.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we
I know
got,
we're trying to clean
we're
everything
gonna
up. I
keep
just don't
Yeah.
know.
we're gonna
Takes
keep
time.
This is
going.
baby steps apparently.
It is. Yeah, this one's a little more urgent, just because we've had people inquiring, and I'd like to give them a clear direction. Other questions or comments? Roll call, please. I'm sorry, did you want to ask something else? Go ahead if you did. I waited and I didn't see anything or hear anything.
Can we, you're talking about, go back to about the downtown. So we're going to delete what's there and we're going to replace it.
Yep.
And it caps the number of licenses in the
The
downtown?
Current code says you
current
can have
code.
no more than 3 total licenses.
All right.
The new code leaves that unaddressed, which means that there's no geographic restrictions on licenses.
There's a cap in the whole town.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
So you couldn't have 10 down there with only 6 licenses.
correct.
restaurants aren't.
But he's talking about the non-restaurant part.
Yep.
But if they wanted, if something closes elsewhere, they could relocate to the downtown.
Yes.
Without limits on how many could be located within that area.
Because currently, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Some of
7?
those are restaurants, so.
Restaurants are a different class.
Yours 3 capped.
It's confusing.
It-
It is. No, listen, I was confused. Took a while for them to explain to me.
There are 3 Class A's in the downtown currently.
Law Office, Crusade, and what's the third one?
Rowdies,
Rowdies. Thank you.
The Rowdies and Crusades aren't considered.
Okay, so,
No, they all hold A1 licenses. They may be able to qualify as a restaurant.
Correct.
Yeah, if they have 51% or more
yeah, I
of
guess
their
that's what's
revenue from
confusing. I'm
food,
thinking of restaurants.
I think they're restaurants too.
It is
then they
confusing.
could.
Yeah.
They want to pay more.
Well, they're paying the highest dollar right now, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't I don't understand.
Other questions or comments? Okay.
I'm confused. It's okay.
Chris? I'm not trying to rush it, but
No.
I'd like to vote on
So
tonight
I-
if we could.
I think, personally myself, looking at this, gaming cafe, gas station services, those two, perfectly fine. Memo items 1 through 4, I have no issue with those. I'm thinking 5 and 6, I wouldn't mind discussing those a little more, having a little more time to kind of go through those as there is a little confusion on them because we think of some of these as restaurants, but they're licensed differently. So,
By their application.
by their
Not by
application.
our choice.
Right. And so,
Lisa wants to say something.
go ahead.
no, it just, those are what those businesses came in and applied for. So they're not necessarily what people would consider a tavern.
Exactly.
But they came in and wanted that license.
Can you clarify, what is the difference between their license and, say, Parma's license?
The restaurant class requires the food component, but the bar license does not require. With the restaurant class, you have to have more than 50% of your sales can't come from alcohol.
Okay.
We're seeing a trend toward more businesses applying for the bar and grill now, because the bar and grill is treated as a restaurant during the day, and then the tavern after the night. Because typically in bars, they're gonna have less food sales after 9 p.m.
Okay, just want to clarify.
There may also be another shift in the licenses being applied for now that you've created the R1 to allow the package sales for the restaurants to sell bottles of wine. Initially, more restaurants were coming in and getting that Class A because they wanted the ability to sell the package wine to go.
Ken?
So what is South Bank instead of that?
Barbecue.
It's what, bar and grill?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a bar and grill license.
So they're different in
Yeah, so they're, in their daytime hours, they have to sell more than 51% food and drink, non-alcoholic drink. But then after 9 o'clock, they can sell unlimited amounts of alcohol.
Mr. Funkhouse, do you have another question?
I just wanted to throw something out. Would there be any objection if we were to take 5 and 6 back to committee, but move the rest of them?
So here's what I'd like to do is approve it if you want to discuss 5 and 6 with some of these other things. Because this is so intertwined, and like I said, there are some things I really would like to have pass, because I've had people requesting some of these for a couple weeks, and I haven't given them a clear direction because I knew we were gonna talk about this.
Wouldn't numbers 1 through 4 remedy those, or not?
The problem is, in the ordinance, if you have the number here, the price there, the hours there, so that you can't just pull out a section, they work hand in glove. But we will be coming back with more amendments very soon, and hopefully, if there are issues on that, but you understand what I'm saying? I mean, you have.
Yeah, you can pass it as is and then make a commitment
Right,
to put
'cause
5 and
one
6 on the
section-
next committee agenda.
Right, one section
clean
sets
up.
up the categories, another section sets up the cost, another, so I'm sorry.
And it's the issue bringing it
It
straight
works,
here.
it works like this, so it was harder to draft than I imagined when we sat down. Lisa, I think I drove Lisa crazy to make sure I had all the components.
I don't foresee any issues between now and the next city council meeting with somebody coming in if you approve it with 5 and 6, and like us having to say, well, no, you can't do that anymore because we've changed it.
But
So,
it doesn't work that way, though.
right, well, I'm saying like approve it as is.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And then I don't anticipate somebody coming in the next 2 weeks and saying like, I was gonna put a bar downtown, but no, I'm not going to because you have an unlimited amount. It's like, I mean, that's like a potential rub. I just don't see that occurring.
Potentially it would be a month from now because admin would meet before the next council.
Typically liquor license stuff goes to public safety. It can go anywhere, but yeah.
Jay?
Can I have clarification? What does it mean by service bar only?
That means that wait staff would just pour the drinks and bring to the
Bring to the
table,
table.
and there's not a bar where customers sit and are served by the bartender.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments?
Just a quick comment. As confusing as this one is, you could read Aurora right now, which is A through S, I believe.
Ours is really confusing.
And then also, if you go into DuPage County, since alcohol used to not be allowed, they're not bars, they're considered eating counters with a maximum number of between 9 and 16 seats, and you cannot mention the word school. The more you know.
So this, and I understand it is not easy to comprehend. This is, at least from what I've seen, a lot more streamlined and cleaner than what we have right now. So,
And there's more streamlined
other questions or comments?
as you.
Roll call, please.
Funkhauser,
Aye.
Chirulis,
Aye.
Transier,
Aye.
Clocher, Breeders, Peterson,
Aye.
Koch,
Aye.
Milszewski,
Aye.
motion carries.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we have Public Works Committee. Mr. Plocher, is that you?
That is.
Awesome.
Start with Public Works number 1, PW 2020-09. A motion to approve an ordinance amending the city code, Title 6, Chapter 5, size and weight of vehicles, and an ordinance approving the service agreement with Oxcart Permit Systems LLC, authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute.
Is there a second?
Second.
Like Copeland. Discussion, who's handling this one? Eric?
If there's any questions, absolutely.
This streamlines the process, correct?
Streamlines the process and puts it all in one place for trucking companies. They call now, and say they wanted to go from Morris to Oswego, they wanted to come through Yorkville, and for some reason they wanted to cut down East Main Street McHugh. Their route would be plugged into their computer, and it would automatically spit out our fee and give them the options for what they wanted to do. They're using it now in other communities, we're just not part of this.
And there's no cost to us?
None.
Okay. Mr. Frieders?
How do you know when a truck is identified as being overweight outside of the flags and all the others?
That's what they have to post on.
Okay, then number two, how do you know if they paid for a permit?
That's where he comes in.
Like you. So, but now, would they somehow relay that information to you, so whenever a semi is in front of you and it says oversized, you know they paid for a permit? Or is that still something where you can kind of look them up, and if they haven't, you can?
When every permit is requested, I will get an email, and I will either allow or deny the permit as requested. And so if Jim has a question, I can look right back through my emails.
And then when they're denied and they still go through town, what's the process there? Is it like a larger fine? Like,
Big time.
and then, but is there a visual sticker on the truck that says I can drive to York?
No.
That's what I'm like, okay, you're paying for a permit, but how do you know you got it?
Yeah, there's nothing little for sticker. But
Mr. Plocher?
Chances are without the system, they're coming through and not paying us a permit.
And that's what I assume, so,
Right, because they use the system, they assume all of their stuff's good, and then our officers luckily have better things to do than.
They say we don't have.
And this applies to city streets, not county or state. So like Route 47, Galena Road.
correct.
Where's the nearest set of scales?
Ground Effects has a set of certified scales.
They'll let you use them if you need to?
They whip for a charge, but yes, they do.
Other questions, comments? That was Mr. Transier for the record. Okay, go roll call, please.
Trullis.
Aye.
Transier.
Aye.
Clocher.
Aye.
Frieders.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Koch.
Aye.
Milczewski.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Is there, oh, sorry, Mr.
Funny.
Plocher. I apologize. Trying to steal
Public
your
Works,
thunder.
number 2, PW 2020-11. Make a motion to approve a Public Works storage shed change order number 1 and authorize the mayor and city clerk or the mayor to execute.
Second. Second by Trullis. And this just says, what, that we spent 15 grand less than we proposed?
Correct.
Excellent. That's good. Other questions or comments? We'll do a roll call, please.
Transier.
Aye.
Clocher.
Aye.
Frieders.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Koch.
Aye.
Milczewski.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Trullis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
And we're on to PW 2020-12. Both 8 and 9. A motion to accept bids in the amount not to exceed $107,800 plus mandatory alternate item bid 2A, 2B, 4A in the amount not to exceed $7,300 or the contractor Global Water Services LLC in total amount not to exceed $115,100.
Is there a second? Second. Frieders? Any discussion on this? This came in how much under the estimate?
It's roughly 50,000.
50, 50. Nice. Getting closer to some additional roads. Other discussion, roll call, please.
Clocher.
Aye.
Frieders.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Koch.
Aye.
Milczewski.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Trullis.
Aye.
Transier.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
PW 2020-13, gas and wash. You remember they were nice enough to move it for us, so. A motion to approve a resolution for IDOT highway permit for a gas and wash, Route 47 entrance, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute.
Second. Second by Frieders. Was there any discussion at committee? It's pretty straightforward, no discussion here. Roll call, please.
Frieders.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Koch.
Aye.
Milczewski.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Trullis.
Aye.
Transier.
Aye.
Clocher.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Nice.
Blackberry Woods Phase B, PW 2020-14. A motion to accept Blackberry Woods Phase B public improvements of water main, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, paving, sidewalks, streetlights, and parkway trees as described in bill of sale, ownership, and maintenance by the city, and authorize release of existing security upon receive of a maintenance guarantee in the amount of $77,150.72 subject to verification that developer has no outstanding debt owed to the city for the project and subject to receipt of a signed bill of sale.
Second. Discussion? So everything's been taken care of?
Correct, all the punch list items.
That includes the light fixtures, street lights, and those are LED, correct? That's awesome. That's awesome. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Peterson,
Aye.
Koch,
Aye.
Milczewski.
Aye.
Funkhauser. Truist.
Aye.
Transier.
Aye.
Polcher.
Aye.
Readers.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Last but not least, PW 2020-15, a motion to authorize the staff to submit a 2020 call for project application for Bristol Ridge Road project funding.
For a second? Oh, that's what I say, no second. Second by Coke. Brad, you want to explain this one briefly? Please.
The Council of Mayors, all the projects, so this is the entity that contributes to the federal funds that come to the state for roadway purposes. So they have a call for projects every 3 years or so, 4 years, and now is the time for that. So the city is taking advantage of those funds in the past. King Park Road, example, Cannonball Trail, another example. So basically, there's only a handful of city streets that are eligible. They have to be in the federal aid system at the route. So that's typically last year more major streets, collector streets, and what have you. So at this point, we're recommending basically only one street be mixed. And that's noted in the packet. And that's the Bristol Ridge Road. So the estimated cost of that particular project is slightly over $700,000. So the funding, if selected, would be about 75% of the construction costs. So roughly, that funding would be $475,000 if the project was that selected. So very competitive. There's going to be a lot of projects submitted in for the rest of the folks, communities within the council. And once applications are made, the council mayor staff will rate the streets and all this and we'll have official results in the fall. Their goal is to establish a new 5-year program moving forward, spend this budget.
Questions? Comments? Thank you for the explanation. We'll see if we get it. It'd be great.
There.
Oh, I'm sorry, please.
This one, I just clarified within the committee that this is a no penalty grant. If it works, if we accept it, or if we do not accept it, there's no penalty to us. So, because right now, the $250,000 that we'd be looking at is now budgeted. If it comes down to it in 2021, that we don't have the money, we could reject this and not go through the project without a penalty.
Good,
So that's,
good point.
That's what I wanted to make.
That's a really good point. Mr. Coke, that's a
Yeah.
great point, actually.
Following up on that, Chris, especially with this LGDF, the thing that we won't find out until the fall, you know, we may not have the money at that point to do it, so. If that doesn't go, right?
Oh, you're talking about where the governor is suggesting they steal some more money from us?
Yeah.
Yeah. When they passed the multi-billion-dollar tax increase, oh, it wasn't enough. Surprise.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the same thing. So it's just, it's the title, the specific governor.
And this road is not on our 5-year plan.
It's actually, I think it is in the 5-year plan, isn't it?
It's not, it is not done in 5 years.
Oh, it's not, okay.
Although, that's reviewed annually, every fall, kind of take a look at it and update the plan. It certainly is worthy of consideration.
Did you say also, and this is good discussion because we talked about this a little bit at the department head meeting. If this funding is approved, it doesn't necessarily have to be the next fiscal year?
No,
Not 21, but.
That's correct. Yeah, the Council of Mayors is establishing a 5-year plan for all the communities. So even if this project were selected, it could be 5 years down the road before funding.
Any other questions, comments? That was a good discussion. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Koch.
Aye.
Milczewski.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Truist.
Aye.
Transier.
Aye.
Polcher.
Aye.
Readers.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Anything else, Mr. Flocher?
No,
You sure?
good.
Okay. Economic Development Committee, anything to report?
No report.
Okay. Public Safety Committee, any report?
No report.
Thank you. Admin Committee, we got a few items here. Now, I will say the last item, number 4, I'd like that to be tabled. We found out some other information we'd like to clarify. Might be next meeting, but we're just not ready for the 4th one. But go ahead, please, Mr. Funkhauser.
All right. Treasury reports for November, here. Make a motion to approve the treasury reports for November 19, December 19, and January of 2020.
Second by Peterson. Rob, just after January 20, how are we looking financially?
Well, we're looking pretty good. Our revenues have exceeded what we should be, 75% or 81% of general fund, and our expenditures are below that amount, 69%.
So if you extrapolate that out for a full year, are we looking like we'll have a budget surplus, a deficit, or actual, I should say?
Yeah, I think we will have a budget surplus.
Excellent. Other questions?
Just a comment, there might have been an oversight on the agenda format, because I know from committee this was moved to consent.
Any other questions or comments?
Maybe next time it'll get there for rules.
Other comments? Roll call, please.
Olszewski.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Trulis.
Aye.
Transier.
Aye.
Flocher.
Aye.
Readers.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Coe.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Good comments.
Next item, make a motion to approve the 2020 marketing plan as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Milszewski. I was afraid you were gonna make a motion or a second all night tonight. You made it, okay. And this was the presentation we just heard earlier tonight, so. Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Trulis.
Aye.
Transier.
Aye.
Flocher.
Aye.
Readers.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Coe.
Aye.
Olszewski.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the sale and transfer of personal property owned by the city, finance department equipment, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute.
Second.
Second by, was it Peterson? Peterson?
Yes, sir.
Discussion? This was some item that was how old?
More than 10 years old.
Okay. Excellent. Other questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Trulis.
Aye.
Transier.
Aye.
Flocher.
Aye.
Readers.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Coe.
Aye.
Olszewski.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Anything else, Mr. Funkhauser?
We just have our NIMIC,
Motion
which
to
we're
table.
going to.
No, you gonna motion to table that?
Motion
or-
to table.
Okay,
I have a question.
But, yeah, good.
sure.
Before we table, discussion.
Is there a second? I don't know if you can discuss the motion to table.
No, if you.
Exactly, that's why,
Well,
You
Okay.
need a motion and a second and a
So-
motion to table.
since there's no,
Well, here, is there a question?
I'm going to put the motion on the table, so a motion to approve the NIMIC resolution is presented.
second.
Second by Milszewski.
Motion to table.
No.
No.
So.
Ian,
That's
ask a
correct.
question.
Ian, answer
I just had a
question.
question if it was going back to committee or we're just gonna bring it back before the city council next month.
I anticipate that we will have a new agenda item for city council next month. So it'll be potentially with a different broker that will utilize NIMEX services still. So I'll explain all that to you.
We're hoping, just in a nutshell, and again, without getting a lot of detail, because we don't have it all yet, we're hoping to incorporate potentially this, plus save some additional money, so we just came up with something that we might save more money, and I thought, you know what, I don't think I'm gonna get upset if we can pull off a couple weeks to save more money. And it's not 15% with Geico either, so. Okay, was there a motion to table?
Make a motion to table.
Second.
Okay, now the only thing I want to clarify, okay, we'll vote on it and then I'll clarify. All in favor of tabling, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So next time we bring it up, do we have to have a motion to pull it off the table? Isn't that how that works?
It's going to be a different item.
Oh, so it may not matter.
Right,
Yeah,
it'll
okay,
be
perfect.
approving it so that it, and you don't have to pull it off if you don't table it to a date certain, and here it's going to be a different item.
So, okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Okay. It's not a school either. Okay, anything else, Mr. Funkhauser?
That's it?
Thanks for clarifying that. Okay, park board, anything? Anything exciting? They talking about margaritas and mayo?
No, we got St. Patty's Day coming up.
I understand that. Yeah, that's,
Saturday 14th.
that's right, Saturday 14th. It's not Friday the 13th, that's good. Excellent, okay. Planning and Zoning Commission, we have, or actually I would like a motion to approve PZC 2020-01 and EDC 2020-06, an ordinance approving amendments to the Yorkville Comprehensive Plan.
So moved.
Mr. Funkhauser? Is there a second? Mr. AJP? Okay. Christie, would you explain this, please?
Sure. There's a series of changes to the comprehensive plan we're proposing. The bulk of them have to do with approvals that were already made by the city council. Cases, for instance, carpet business, and cedar versus living. And then there's the request for Elton Road corridor from the BNSF rail board to Lena. We have all of that plan that is identified within our comprehensive plan. General industrial. There's a request to have Ashley Road more indicated on our land plan as well. Or the latter one as well, public hearings for
Questions or comments? I like the fact that we're adding industrial along Eldman Road, north of the tracks there. I think that's exciting. Hopefully we can get some industry in. Okay, no questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Repeat it, yeah.
Clocher,
Aye.
Readers. Peterson,
Aye.
Koch,
Aye.
Wilczewski,
Aye.
Funkhauser,
Aye.
Truist,
Aye.
Transier,
Aye.
motion carries.
Thank you very much. Okay, we already voted on item number 2. City council report, anything? Anything? Any updates?
I do have a quick update. So the tally for the National Suicide Prevention and Action Month proclamation is up to 37 cities and 2 counties in 14 different states, for a total potential impact of constituents of 1.5 million people. I know how the week kind of smushed together. I think it was last Thursday, I was able to go to Sugar Grove, and President Michaels adopted the proclamation. On Monday, I'll be in St. Charles. Mayor Robina is adopting the proclamation. We've got Melbourne coming up, but it's really cool to see a bunch of our communities that we're involved in with Metro West and all of our other kind of consortiums and groups are all jumping on this and kind of taking the lead, and we're seeing a lot more communities that have been doing this for 3-4 years that are now actually inviting us to come in and accept the proclamation and introduce them to their local mental health partner. So still incredibly inspired, so I'm pretty excited about this year so far. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I drink beer. One of the groups that I kind of started on the internet is all talking about craft beer, whatever. We're now actually starting to get some of the Hope for the Day education into some breweries around the country. Some things we're doing just industry-only events. Some things we're actually doing public events, but in the next like 5 weeks, I'll be in Plainfield at Workforce, St. Louis at Second Shift, Kansas City at Crane Brewing, and then there's another one I'm forgetting that I'll get beat up for not mentioning. But yeah, it's kind of cool being able to take the conversation about mental health in front of people all over the country, but also kind of specific to the food service and craft brewing industry. So I'm kind of, I'm thirsty, but I'm incredibly excited, so thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Any other city council items? City clerk report?
Report.
Community and liaison reports? None. Staff reports?
No reports?
Anything from this side over here? Pete, you're all by yourself?
No, over here.
Excellent. Over here, anyone that get called on? I think we called on everyone over there. Yeah, we did.
Rob.
Yeah, we called him Rob. Yeah.
Let's do it again, Rob.
He gave a fascinating. Jason, do you have anything back there? So, okay, additional business? Citizen comments? No need for executive session. Motion adjourned. Motion. Second?
Second.
Vote all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.